involuntary detained at the Superior Hospital now since Cinco de Mayo, the Mexican day. And oh wow, people didn't like that. See how I got aged on film? Watch, this is what happens when there's a thing called brain-computer interface and remote patient rape suits. I call them rape suit attribute thieves. So this is when I disconnect them permanently. Like they go to the morgue after this. Watch, I'm gonna look dead. So I look dead, right on cue, and then I'm gonna finish disconnecting them, and then the wrinkles disappear. So anyways, I got hospitalized because for 3 different reasons. Because it was Cinco de Mayo and I did some Mexican moves, and I was going to be on the $100 bill because the Seattle Seahawks, the 2019-2020 roster, there was a Chris, a Myers, a Diggs, a Britt, DK, King, Neil, Locke on the team. My family went to a royal wedding, August 28th, 1871, and I looked like many of the attendees. And, you know, my half-sister lived on Princess Crescent, and I had a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. And right behind the Royal York in Toronto, there's a Piper Street. And 1 block from King on Yonge in Toronto, there was right by the Royal Bank where at Panhandle, there was a Heritage Restoration Inc. And there's a guy that looked like a guy named Wade that looked like my dead brother Barry, and a guy that looked like my Uncle John. Right, so I look like, I'll just show you who I look like. Just show you before I get into this story here. I'll just show you some family likeness. So we'll go right back here. So this is Henry VIII. So you can see, wow, this is Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. He looks identical to Henry VIII. Oh wow, Captain James Cook and Charlotte and Mecklenburg Strelitz, they secretly had kids. And look at, there's Captain James Cook and Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. Wow, do they ever look alike? And then here's my German connection. This the guy on the left here, Frederick III, he looks like my dad, Barry John Dickens Sr. And on the right, Augustus Victoria looks like my mom, Bridget Ulla Meyer. And their son, William II, looks identical to Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. Wow. And then Augustus Victoria, as a daughter here on the left, looks identical to Christian Eric Arnie Meyer's daughter, KJM, born in 2002, Sault Ste. Marie. So right here, this is most likely my grandfather, Edward VIII. You can see he looks identical to Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. And guess what? Edward VIII, he had a panache, or he had the liking to have sex with married women. And my grandmother was living in London at the time when she was married. And then there, wow, holy cow, look at George VI. He looks identical to Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. And there's George VI's official grandson, King Charles. They look like they're the same ethnicity. Look at George VI and then Christian Eric Arnie Meyer, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. On the right, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. He looks identical to this white man, King George VI. They try to use subliminal to pretend that they were black at those moments, but that's what we look like. So I'll just show you some more here. So, but there's that. Oh, I did do some more with fathers. Well, I won't really get into it in this video. But here, I'll go to the Roman line. So, wow, look at the Antonius Prius. Wow, he looks like Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. Marcus Aurelius. Wow, he looks like Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. Hadrian, who built Hadrian's Wall in England. Wow, he looks like Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. And so who else? Oh, I guess I'll go for the fathers. There's Alexander III. Wow, he looks like Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. And guess who his son was? Well, there's George V. He looks like Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. There's his son, Nicholas II. Well, Alexander III of Russia. This is the last Tsar, Nicholas II. He looks like Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. Here's Edward VII. Wow, he looks like Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. So anyways, oh, here's Augustus Frederick. And he looks like Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. And see right here, this is Queen Victoria, her wedding, and Augustus Frederick was her uncle, and he walked her down the aisle. And guess what? My grandfather was born on January 27th. So he walked her down the aisle. There was a patient in the hospital named Caitlin, and she looked like Augustus, or she looked like Queen Victoria, and I looked like Augustus Frederick. It's pretty strange. There's another guy named James. He looked like George V when he was older. I looked like him when he was younger. So anyways, now back to the whole point, why I'm in the hospital. So I was supposed to be on the $100 bill because I'm the true king. If you look on the I guess it'd be the left ear of Lester Pearson with the $50 bill with 6 times magnification, you're going to see how it says Christian is king. And on the right nostril, I guess it would be, on the $10 bill, you see a picture of my face in 2018. So I was overtly, that means like without subliminal or any spy trickery, going to be on the $100 bill. So I was hospitalized on May 5th for posting a video, like basically telling you, say, hey, if you have a 2-liter bottle, you fill it up in the fridge or in the freezer on an angle, you fill it up with water, and then it's frozen halfway. And then in the morning, you fill it up with cold water, then you get cold water all day. And then you know what they did? They said that I was harassing customers outside Starbucks. But I could show you the video on my YouTube, and you could watch it, and you could see all I did was offer advice. Right? So anyways, what happened was, the whole reason why I was hospitalized is I was homeless. The government keeps me homeless because I'm going to be king. And so basically, you can't find my videos. You have to look, like even when I search online, like my account name and the exact title of my videos, you can't find my videos online. Like I put a guy on a street flashing Texas Hold'em poker. You can't find that video like by using my account name or the exact title of the video. You have to do it on YouTube. You can't use a search engine because the government suppresses me. They allow people to add subliminal porn to my videos. Just one second. I just gotta find it here. I look different. Like I had a beard at the time in the thumbnail. Oh, I forgot. So this is Princess Helena. She was one of the attendees at the wedding on August 28th, 1871. And her name is Princess Christian. And I look just like her. Oh, here we go, right here, May 5th. This is, watch this video right there, 1 view. And it shows that all I did was offer advice. It was Cinco de Mayo. All I did was offer advice. And I got hospitalized for offering advice. And because I was about to leave town, and they didn't want their culpability of me leaving town. So basically, I had to stay in an ATM booth to stay warm, and I had 2 sleeping bags. And then, you know, I ended up developing a kind of a routine where I would go there. I went there several times. So the government knew that I was going to go there. So next thing you know, I'm in the ATM, and then all of a sudden, this woman that pretended to be homeless, or is homeless, she shows up in the ATM. So she's sitting there and she was all cold, and like I was really being like standoffish, right? Like I just wanted her to leave, right? So I was just kind of being standoffish. Then eventually she asked to come under my sleeping bag to get warm. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll turn the situation into sex. So then I had sex in the ATM booth, right? They made me almost climax after inserting my penis 2 or 3 times, and then they try to make me climax, right? I've had sex over 1,000 times. Like I used to last like a long time, right? So there's no way, like they try to basically make me inseminate and impregnate her. But as she was giving me fellatio, that's oral sex, I'm kind of looking at her strange because like she looked very inexperienced. But what they did is they allowed people with brain computer interface. Basically, you could inhale nanotechnology, and by breathing it could be absorbed in your skin. So if you feel any moisture on your skin, and you never, like nobody coughed or it's not raining, that's nanotechnology being installed in your system. And it could come into your brain, and it can make you, people can control your body. They can make you look at things, walk. They can make you type. They could make you see, pee, shower, and touch, feel, taste, all that stuff. I call them rape suits. I call them rape suits, attribute thieves. So anyway, so they must have allowed some kid, some predator, they did, right, because they made me blush. They allowed some predator to rape me in this ATM booth. And guess what? They hospitalized me based on a McDonald's employee named Johnner. And so they hospitalized me now for 1/3 of a year. And guess what they did to me in the hospital? As I document the medical malpractice of me getting aged on film, you know what they do? They take my cell phone privileges away from me. You know what that is? That's a violation of, as a patient, we have the right to complain without reprisals. So taking my cell phone away, that's a reprisal. And we have a right to whistleblower protection. So taking my cell phone away for, whistleblowing is a violation of my rights. I get to litigate against you motherfuckers. And motherfuckers is just a word that you choose to be offended by, but not hello. Hello, we say we agree with hello, but motherfuckers you choose to be offended by. Wow, how strange is that? So anyways, they do all this stuff and they violate. And when you look at an electronic device, they could add, I'll just show you this. So they can install software, and it's called digital impulses. So right here, yes, electronic devices like televisions, computers, and cell phones emit digital impulses. And then down here, yes, theoretically, computational medicine could leverage digital impulses to trigger nanotechnology-based drug delivery. And just think, drugs can be good or bad. So that means when you look at technology or any electronic device, they could install technology in your body. So what they do for me to keep me anonymous, since I'm going to be king, and the government of Canada, for every $1 they spend to protect Mark Carney, they spend $50 officially to protect me, but they never know where I am. But I'm not going to show you this. But they allow women connected to me. So when women are connected to me, look at me. It looks like I have tits. It looks like I have tits. And you know what happens to my penis? My penis gets small and one side disconnect. Watch what happens. This is women connected to me, and this is when women are connected to me. You see how my chest changed? That was me disconnecting an electronic rapist from me, and then my chest changed, and I feel my penis grow without getting erect. Right, so they spend like this. Wow, that's how much money they spend every day to restrict my super white penis. Why do you think Moby Dick was white in the movie? And why do you think there's white horses are known to have big penises? Why do you think there's a territory called White Horse? Because they were thinking of Christian Eric Arnie Meyer. So remember, I got hospitalized for having sex in an ATM booth and getting raped electronically for almost a third of a year. Oh, so not only did they take my cell phone privileges away for documenting my medical malpractice, as you can see me get aged on film, right? That's not supposed to happen. So anyways, I'm hospitalized in Canada. Doesn't pay for any Botox or dermal fillers for patients in the mental health ward to have their wrinkles disappear, like I did at the beginning of this video. So anyways, I haven't exhibited any psychosis, aggression, and they mitigated and they limited. They're pretending I'm black at this point. And any transparent images and videos, it's going to show that I never got aggressive to any person. And why are they restricting my medical marijuana for anxiety? So Canada restricts my medical marijuana for anxiety. They play different rules. They secretly medicate people and they think they're not psychotic. They're narcissistic. They hide their culpability through me. They get my acclaim and try to give me their pain. Wow. I've had, even though my biology shows that I'm an evolved species, look at, I've had that sore since over a month, and I should heal instantly. My genetics show that I'm, impervious to disease. I haven't got sick since 2016. Never got COVID. So anyway, so they haven't given me my medical marijuana in over 100 days. They haven't given me passes or smoke breaks in over 100 days, and they put me on a medication illegally. I had the right to participate in care decisions until proven incompetent in court of law. So via email, I changed my substitute decision maker by email, and the doctor acknowledged this prior to the court case hearing. So they illegally medicated me because I'm like, well, I want to change my SDM. And so then next thing you know, on August 11th, I call 911 and the K. I'm getting, they're using biological, chemical, and genetic weaponry on me at the hospital. This is why I get aged on film. Look at my eyes. That shouldn't happen with a 47-year-old's elasticity. That's like 109 years old. People get that, right? Try it on your 80-year-old grandmother. It's not going to happen. So anyways, so I call 911 and then 3 hours go by, nothing happens. Then I call back again 3 hours later, and I'm like, well, now I have blood in my mucus. Can you do something about this? I have video proof of them aging me on film. I have video evidence. But I said I was in the mental health ward. So they, what they did to me? They're like, fuck you. We're not going to help you because we think you're crazy. Because in Canada, all you have to do is say, hey, they're going to harm me or they're going to harm themselves. And then you get hospitalized. I've been hospitalized for over 100 days based on some of these accusations and lies. Imagine that. It's like going to jail. I have to stand in line for food, and I don't get to go outside, and I don't get to access my phone. I don't have access to the outside world for over 100 days, almost a third of a year, and we have patient rights, and you learn more from patients than you do the patient advisors. Right, so they don't tell you when you have a CCB hearing that you could request the written reasons or pay for the transcript. Patients tell you that. So anyways, you're supposed to get a hearing within 7 days. You know how long I waited for my third hearing? 5 weeks. You know how long I waited this time for my fourth hearing? 10 days. You know, it's on September 2nd. So anyways, it's impossible for me to lose because I'm going to be able to prove so many different ways that, you know, and with them, like two separate lawyers voted for me to be released. And I'm still hospitalized because they exploit my biology. Like when I urinate at the Syria hospital, I have more bubbles in my urine than normal because they try to steal my semen via my urine. And they're like, well, this guy is so bad. And the smarter Chris chops her ass because he's so funny. And I've never exhibited any bipolar characteristics. And watch this, look at, I pissed them off. That's why I get aged on film, right? So once again, I'm going to disconnect these human rapists. Then the wrinkles disappear because they want to give it to me in my rear. Right? The rapists, right? The rape suit attribute thieves. So anyways, so they took my cell phone away. They haven't given me my medical marijuana. They haven't allowed me to have passes or smoke breaks. So now they medicated me on August 11th. Oh, I was telling you about 911. So I called 911 the second time, and then she hung up on me, right? The second time I called, and I was thinking, wow, like how ignorant is that? Like, you know, I said I had video evidence, and then I said I now had blood in my mucus, and she's like, well, you're in the right place. Well, if I'm being harmed at the hospital, how am I in the right place when I'm being involuntarily detained? So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna call back and get her fucking badge number and then fucking file a complaint. So you know what I did? I called back a third time. The third 988 said the exact same thing to me. Then they hung up on me. So I'm like, wow, that's strange. So then I called back, like, because, you know, I didn't realize they hung up on me or whatever, right? So I'm like, well, what happened, right? So the phone was busy. Then I tried a different phone. The phone was busy. Then Olivia, the manager at the hospital, was like, wow, you called 10 times. She's a dumb idiot individual because she doesn't realize they don't delete 911 recordings. So when I litigate against the Syria hospital and Olivia, I'm going to be able to prove that I spoke to them exactly 3 times. And the intervals, I called once at like say 9 in the morning, then I called after lunch, and then I called within 5 minutes because I called back to get her badge number. That is not unreasonable. So anyways, and then so now on August 11th, they decided to medicate me illegally. Once again, they used my old STM rather than my new STM, and which is illegal. And it's because I have the right to participate in care decisions, and then I have the right to designate a representative, right? So that means I have the right to designate my STM, right? So I did that, and the doctor acknowledged the email, and I have proof of this. And so when I litigate, I'm going to prove that it was illegally. So all of a sudden, you know, I'm sitting out there on August 11th. Then the next thing you know, I see Olivia, then I see nurses, then I see security guards, and I'm like, well, I'm not being aggressive and all this stuff. They're like, well, we're going to medicate you. I'm like, well, this is illegal. You know, I just want you to know that I'm not going to resist, but I don't agree to this. I'm not voluntarily taking this medication. And so then they put me in the PICU, and for a while, and then like about an hour, and then I was in there, and then all of a sudden they come in. And then they start locking doors all around me. I'm like, well, I'm not going to get aggressive, right? Like, it's not my temperament, right? Like, to be aggressive. But I don't pick fights. But anyways, but I do finish them, motherfuckers. So anyways, I'll tell you another story after this. But so then they end up giving me involuntarily the medication. There was like 6 security guards. They were expecting me to go ballistic or something like that. Berserk mode, right? Maybe I would have charmed them with my personality or whatever, right? Maybe that's what they were waiting for. But so they ended up medicating me and then releasing me from the PICU back to the main unit after they did this illegally. So this was all because I called 911. And so then I called Invega Sustenna, the medication that I'm on at the FDA. I'm like, okay, so how long, I didn't let them know that I was a patient, right, to get the real results. So in the meantime, after I got medicated, I'd ask the nurses, well, how long once a patient's medicated, how long are they evaluated for? They're like, well, typically for 7 days. I'm like, okay, because today, currently on August 27, 2025, it's day 16 for me, right? So like I should have been released 9 days ago based on historic precedents at the Superior Hospital and mental health unit from many, like 3 different nurses. So then I called FDA and I'm like, well, how long is somebody typically evaluated on Invega Sustenna? They're like from 3 hours to 3 days to see if they have an allergic reaction, and any long-term effects they do as an outpatient. And so I'm like, wow, like, so even if they were I was on this medication for 3 years. I'm like, even if I was on this medication for 3 years, they're like, yeah, that would be even less, right? So they don't realize I'm going to be able to litigate for this in the future. So anyways, how I finish fucking fights. Now, like the Canadian government has twice now allowed me to sleep beside a murderer. One guy at a shelter in St. Catharines in pitch dark, we're laying there on our cots. He's like, I made a guy disappear that worked at Subway. Ha 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 ha! And a maniacal kind of laugh. Like he sounded like a maniac. That laugh didn't do justice. And so here's the perpetrator right there. That's what he looks like. He's a Portuguese guy. But so anyways, so he said that. And then once he left, I didn't want to do anything while I was staying there because he could stab me in my sleep, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'll wait till he leaves and then I'll call 911 because somebody's family is like mourning the loss of their loved one, and because this guy murdered them, most likely, right? So then, anyways, the police didn't do anything about that. I called the detective, and the detective's like, he's like, what does maniacal mean? I'm like, you fucking idiot! You're a detective. I thought you have a law degree, and you don't even know what maniacal means. It means a fucking maniac, dumbass. So, anyways, they did nothing. I seen the guy in Niagara Falls. Like a few weeks later, like when I moved there, and they didn't do anything about it. So then, while staying at the Superior Hospital, this other guy named Justice was he killed somebody, and he told me this the day that he left. But he's like, I murdered somebody, right? Twice he said that. Then he realized what he said and how he said it. And he's like, yeah, I killed somebody in self-defense. It's like, wow, you don't see I murdered somebody if you killed somebody in self-defense. You can be like, fuck, man, that this guy came at me with a knife and I had to take his life, and fucking, man, I'm fucking choked up, right? You'd be choked up the rest of your life. You would be like, hey, I murdered somebody, right? Like, that's fucking pretty crazy, right? So twice the Canadian government made me sleep beside a fucking murderer. Fuck you, Canada, right? So when I litigate, and once again, I can litigate from anywhere in the world. So when I go to the hearing, dumbass, I'm gonna fucking seek asylum. Because you can only evaluate me as a patient for fucking so long before I'm gone. And then this next hearing that I have on September 2nd, I'm going to have so much fucking evidence. I put on a fucking clinic my last year. I put on a fucking clinic as a patient. You know how professional I was, how much I didn't swear, because this isn't going online. Or I'm putting this online. This isn't going to be in a hearing. So in a court of law, I'm not going to swear, dumbass. So anyways, I put on such a fucking clinic that 2 lawyers now voted for me. Right, because my prowess, being able to use logic. So anyways, now this is going to be my 4th hearing. Now I got 4 fucking reps in. You know how good I'm going to be? I have 72 questions that I'm going to eviscerate you with logic. And so there's the doctor. There's his little brain. So anyways, he comes from a country that the literacy rate went down from 2021 to 2024. It dropped by almost 4%. So I'm like, well, the internet says I could be a new species. I'll just show you this proof. So I'll just show you this proof, motherfuckers. So you can see right here. So see that one? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That sequence right there shows that I'm basically biologically immortal with those telomeres. That'd be proven by a geneticist. So right here it says a triallic genome with mutations, but those numbers missing in those columns. This is for Christian Narragani Meyer, born October 20th, 1977 in Scarborough, Ontario. And combined with unique skeletal and muscular structures could suggest a new species. And species evolve. So you know what I said to him? I'm like, the internet says I could be a new species, and I've been requesting since day 1 to get an x-ray, because an x-ray is going to prove that I have unique skeleton. And I'll show you the muscles. You can easily see that I have unique muscles. And where is it? So there's typical generation 1 biology. That's a white guy. Here's my son. He's generation 1.5 biology. He has different muscles. He's a white guy. And here's my back muscles. which is generation 2, and I'm a white guy. You can clearly see the 3 different muscles. There's 3 different male species of human. You have to understand there's 500 species of sharks. There's 11,000 species of birds. You're only a fucking idiot to think that there can be 3 different species of human. You're an idiot if you can't see that. Patients see this. When I get out of the hospital, I'm going to survey, like when I go to Toronto, I'm going to survey hundreds of fucking people all day long and be like, hey, can you point out this difference? I'm going to enter in for a prize. Like I used to be a salesman. Like my first job was selling roses at 6 years old. I'm going to seduce, entice, and coax people to tell me what I want them to tell me. And they're going to tell me the truth. Yeah, I can see the different muscle structure. Wow, thank you. You're entered in for a prize. You know, once I get my wealth. Right. And so but Canada and Sault Ste. Marie, which is going to be Genocideville in the future, what they don't realize is I'm a new species. You know, people are they line up fucking for weeks for a fucking cell phone. Imagine for a new species. Fucking Guinness World Book of Records, fucking, you know, Ripley's Believe It or Not. You imagine, like, look, see how pissed they're getting? And watch this. I disconnected. Bye. You're feeling. Watch this. These people right there, they just got it next to Kim. Watch how sad they look in 3, 2, 1. Bye. That's why you could hear the plumbing. That's how they try to correspond on the network. They don't think I could hear in these frequencies. I'm an evolved human, so I see in different frequencies that like the visual light spectrum than you do, and then I hear in different frequencies. So anyways, the doctor says I'm grandiose, so I'll just show you here how the internet says based on my theories, I cure fucking blindness. Yes, it's theoretically possible for electromagnetic waves to be used to transmit information through nanotechnology, biomolecular communication devices within the brain, which could then stimulate the visual primary cortex to create visual perception. This concept involves using nanotechnology to interface with the nervous system, potentially restoring or enhancing vision for individuals with visual impairments. Christian Eric Meyer did this. I'm a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. I'm going to get a Nobel Prize for this. And because here's the real Nobel Prize for me right there. And that's only for non-generational pedophiles. So basically, people that don't have visual impairments, when I just did the ladder circle, if you look at that, your eyes are going to become better. You're going to see more color. It's going to be more vivid because I just rewired your brain more efficiently because I'm the smartest person that ever lived. You know, I've been first in the world in 2 games. Right? One was a math game. So anyways, I was going to tell you how I finished the fight. So anyways, I was in the Eden Center. So Canada likes to fuck around with me. So as a panhandler, I was sitting there one time, and then all of a sudden this guy walks out and punches me in the head. And then at Windsor Waterworld, you know, I was sitting there talking, doing my thing, and this guy fucking threw coffee at me. Right? So this is how Canada treats me. Right, so then I'm in Eden Center. So like this, when the guy threw coffee on me, that was in October. But then I realized I could evolve my biology because I have digital biology, but I just got much stronger. Like watch this right here. You can see, right there. You can see me leaving, putting pressure on there where like if I was to use my full force and unhack it, I would have caved in that tube steel, mild steel. That's how strong I am. And that was just with my thumb, right? So anyways, you know, in January or so, like no, in January I was in Windsor, so it must have been February or March. I was in the Eden Center, and I was in the stall, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna pick a fight. So then I get out of the stall, and then he picks a fight, right? So, you know, I defend myself. Then he reaches in his waistband like he's gonna pull out a gun. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to cower. I'm not going to die today. So I go after him, right? And then next thing you know, he grabbed a sign and he proceeded to beat me with the sign for like 10, 20 times, right? And then next thing you know, then I go after him. And at the end of the altercation, guess who begged for mercy? He did, bitch.